How's it going, everyone?
Great.
You guys all hear me?
Yes.
All right, nice. So we're gonna wait for some more people to get in, and then once we got everyone in, we're gonna go ahead and get started with everything. So we'll probably do a quick kind of Q&A type of thing. Um, so any questions you guys have after kind of the first call, if you guys were there for the first meeting, um, then we'll answer any questions from there. If you guys, again, if you weren't there, we'll answer some more questions as well. And then we'll kind of get into everything right away after that. So we make sure we got everyone in. Still got a few people joining. All right, cool. So yeah, just give it a few minutes and then we should be getting everyone in. Um, and then we'll get going with everything. So let's get everyone in here. Let's see. And then if you guys also have questions and stuff like that when we do start a Q&A, you guys can message that in the chat and I'll be answering the questions in there. So if you guys want to type in your messages there as well. So we're still waiting on a good amount of people here. Turn off camera accessibility since it's recorded. What do you mean to turn off camera accessibility? Also, if you guys want to start asking some questions in the chat, feel free. And then I'll start answering those as well. So if you guys are on your phone or computer, you should see there's a button where it says chat, and you can click on the chat and then you start typing in your messages in there. If you guys have any questions, like I said, from the last call, and if you weren't there, then we'll go over really briefly kind of what happened in that last call, and uh, and then we'll get going with the kind of how to get going with organic content. So not having to spend any money on ads. I ran one ad for $10 on Facebook, but there was not even one purchase. $10 is too little to test. So you need to, if you're testing your ad creatives, you need to be spending more than probably $10. A real good test for ads is going to be, you probably want to be spending probably $100 to test, and that's when you kind of know. $10 is just way too little. Are you guys ever going to add more well-known brand products such as Apple Essentials, etc.? So those we can't work with companies like that because they own the products that they sell. So you never be able to do that. How do I run ads for free? So that's what we're going to be going over in this meeting. So we're going to be going over um, kind of how to use organic content to post content around a product to get traffic to our store for completely free. So, let's see what other questions. Wasn't here for the first meeting. All right, cool. So that's completely fine. So we'll go over kind of like what just happened in the last meeting. So anyone that did miss out on that, we're going to go over that as well. So you're talking about $100 a day. No, I'm saying like $100 in total is kind of like what you want to spend to at least test out a product. For myself, when I'm testing products or testing ads and products as well, I guess. I usually run probably from a 25 to $50 a day budget just because I like to test a lot quicker. Because if you're doing a $10 a day budget to get to that, I mean, realistically, you need to kind of warm up the ads by spending probably around $100 to warm up your ad account, regardless, and to warm up the ads. So you're not really going to see that many results that early on, especially if it's like a brand new Facebook account or ad account. So it just takes some time. Uh, let's see what other questions we got here. 100, yeah, I answered that one. Thanks for this lesson. But this is paid ads. We're talking about, yes. So we're going to be talking about organic content today. Um, and we're going to be going over how to use organic content to, again, market our products and get people to our store and buy. So this is without spending any money on ads. So this is perfect for a ton of people that might not have money to spend on ads initially, because ads is a little bit more daunting, right? You got to spend more money, and if you're a beginner, you don't really know what winning ads look like, things like that. So organic content is definitely a really good way for a lot of beginners. So can you please just like review my Shopify store, please? We can't do that on this call, but at a later point in time, I think we may be able to. Is trending products on Zendrop first page really good to run ads on? I would say you want to test, right? So again, we're going to be going over the organic content, and when you guys will see kind of later in the presentation I have set up for everyone, and kind of the explanation on what we do with organic content is we use organic content um, to kind of test for us before we start running ads. So before we even spend any money on ads, we test through organic. So what are your thoughts on TikTok dropshipping? I like TikTok dropshipping a lot. Also, we really quickly to kind of ask on what I think about TikTok dropshipping. Are you talking about like TikTok shop, TikTok affiliate? Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about just posting content on TikTok and then driving people to your store? Let's see. TikTok shop for sellers. So doing just TikTok shop, it's definitely a good way. But the only thing is, if you're doing TikTok shop, you are more so selling, or the products that you're selling, you're essentially just pricing them to the bottom. When it comes to TikTok shop, it's more so just about being the cheapest one on the market and having the best price, so the cheapest price. So you just have to sell a lot in order to actually make a good amount of money. Whereas instead, if you went with like a normal drop shipping store and started to turn that into an actual brand, you can charge a higher amount because of the brand. So think of something like Gymshark or something like that. Obviously, they're not drop shipping products, but like you can essentially turn your dropshipping stores into these big brands. Whereas with TikTok Shop, it's a lot more difficult because again, you're just selling to be the cheapest one on like in the market, right? So someone said wasn't here for the first meeting. That's completely fine. We're gonna go over really quickly kind of what happened in that first meeting and kind of what you guys miss out on. So I think we are gonna get going in just a few minutes. I'd probably say maybe like 5 minutes, we'll get going. If you guys have any more questions, just drop those in the chat. We still have some people joining in, so we're going to answer just a few more questions and then we'll really get going with the entire live. So if you guys, again, have more questions, feel free to drop those down below. Excuse me. Let's see. And again, in this live, essentially, we'll be covering what you guys missed in the last one. If you guys did miss it, if you were there, then again, you already know. If you have questions from the last live going into this live, feel free, ask that as well. And we'll be answering all that. And then after all questions are kind of done, we're going to go ahead and get started with the actual organic dropshipping and how you guys can use organic content to market your stores. Is it okay to only start on Shopify or expand to all one time? What do you mean by that, Joel? Let's see. Yeah, I'm not too sure what you mean. If you want to maybe explain a little bit more. Let me see if I missed any other questions right here. Someone asked, is the trending products on Zendrop's first page really good to run ads on? You want to kind of just do different strategies to try and find products. You definitely can go through Zendrop's first page and look to see what products they have on there. But again, there are other methods to it, to finding winning products. For me, the biggest one is just going to be looking to find products that solve problems. We want to make sure that the product that we're selling does solve a problem, because it's a lot easier to sell, right? Because people buy things based on the results that they get. They don't, like, if you're selling just whatever product it is, they don't buy on the color it is. They don't really buy based off what material it's made out of. They buy because they want a certain result. If you're selling a weight loss product, people will buy that product because it will help them lose weight. All they care about is losing the weight. So you want to be selling products that solve problems, essentially. Zendrop should mention brand name for products, which will be easier to compare prices. Not too sure what you mean there. Let's see. Do you recommend digital products with organic? Yeah, I mean digital products is definitely you can sell anything honestly with organic content. It's a really good way to market. And especially really good for beginners. If you don't know how to create content, I highly recommend just start posting content on Instagram, TikTok, even Facebook, and start to learn and figure out what works, right? Because that's when you'll really or if you learn organic content, it'll help you in literally everything, right? So it doesn't matter what you're selling. You know how to create content at this point. You weren't here for the first meeting. That's completely fine. We're going to go over everything. So we're going to wait another probably like 2 minutes, and then we're going to get into everything. Let's see if I missed any other questions here. Okay, you stated that you guys can't do more well-known brands such as Apple, but you guys have Valentino colognes, Gap hoodies, etc. So is there just certain popular brands that you can use, or so? What I'm thinking is some of these products are just kind of like replicate or like similar, but they're not the actual like. We can't just go and sell Apple iPhones. That's illegal. So Zendrop can't do that. Same thing if it's like AirPods, right? They can't do that as well. So yeah, so it's just like very similar, replicate. So, but regardless, I like for myself, I wouldn't recommend selling colognes and things like that just because it's a lot more difficult to sell because when it comes to something like colognes, people buy colognes based off the brand, right? That it doesn't really matter when it comes to all these other things. It's based off the actual brand. That's why the people buy it. So you want to be selling things that solve problems, in my personal opinion. So let me put my phone on D&D real quick. If I want to sell clothing products for both gaming and sportswear, is that fine? You definitely can, but again, it's a lot more difficult to sell something like clothes because something like clothes is very what's the word? It's based off brand. People will buy that only because of the brand, right? People will buy Nike products, whatever Nike product it is. People will buy a Nike hoodie just because it's a Nike hoodie, right? But if you slapped any other logo on there, people aren't really going to buy it as much in comparison to the Nike hoodie because that one has a Nike logo on it, and people assume that it's good, right? So, clothing is very difficult to get into. So, again, I would look to products that solve problem. Unless you really do want to build a clothing brand, then that's a whole different story, right? So, but again, it really just comes down to you. So we're gonna wait another minute here. I still have some people joining in, so I don't want to just get started just yet. Because again, we do have some people coming in. So if you guys still have any questions, just let me know. Do you believe that you guys could ever work with more well-known brands in the future? I'm not too sure. I probably wouldn't be the one to answer that question. So maybe I don't really see it happening, but you never know. So, any other questions here before we really get into it, everything? So really quickly, like I said earlier, we're going to go over everything that you guys kind of missed in the last call, just very briefly. I'm not going to go fully into it because then we'll be here for 2 hours. But if you guys kind of have any last questions before we start diving into everything. I was never able to get a one-on-one call with someone to assist in getting my store set up. How can I schedule one? I think someone from Zendrop might reply to your comment, and they'll be able to help you out there. Okay, cool. All right. So I think that might be everything for all the questions. So if you guys are ready, if you want to go ahead in the chat, maybe just type a thumbs up or type in I'm ready, right? If you guys want to go in the chat, just again, type in I'm ready, type in a thumbs up, just something so that I know that you guys are ready to go. And that, all right, cool. We got a bunch of people in here. Someone said ready. Joel said ready. Margaret said ready. Alan said let's go. Born ready, ready. All right, cool. Seems like everyone's good to go. Everyone's ready. Type in ready or give a thumbs up, whatever you guys want to do. All right, cool. There we go. All right, so in the last call, essentially what we went over was the store build process on how you guys can actually go ahead and get your store built and everything like that. And what I wanted to kind of cover over is I should have a comment pinned somewhere on the live chat where you guys can go ahead and claim your activation. So if you activate your store, you'll also get $100 in free credits to Zendrop. So your products that you're going to be shipping out, you get $100 in free credits. So you don't even have to pay for the products that you're going to be shipping out in the first place. So also when you do activate your store, just make sure to follow these final steps to getting your store built. If you haven't used the store build tool to build out your store, the link will be in there as well. And then you'll follow that and then you'll build out the store. So just make sure you follow that entire process. And again, if you do sign up on this call, you will get the $100 in free ad credit, or not ad credits, but $100 in Zendrop credits. So it's essentially all free. I've already made a store. Will it work? Yes. So you should get the $100 in credits for your store. Just make sure that you have everything activated. So the link that I just talked about, there you go. Patty just dropped it in there. So you guys can go ahead and click on that link if you guys haven't finished. So yeah. Alicia, if you have any kind of questions like that, I think someone from Zendrop should also reach out to you if you have that issue, because you should get the $100 credits. So maybe you just didn't activate it correctly. So we'll just have to go and take a look. So I got 20 credits on 100. All right. So if you got 20, I would just say again, reach out to someone from Zendrop, someone support, and they'll help you out. So, but again, like I said, if you go over to the link that I just mentioned and you go in there, you can go ahead and get the $100 credits. Again, just make sure you fully activate your store and you get your store fully built out for you. And again, the store is built out for completely free. It takes like 5 minutes. So yeah, if you guys haven't finished that, make sure to do that. And then if you haven't built your store, go ahead and do that as well. So Alicia, someone should respond to you in the live here if no one's responded. Okay, that is pretty much everything with the store part. I want to get into the actual organic content and what we're going to do with organic content, how we can use organic content to market our store. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I do myself and everything like that. So let's go here, share. 1 second here. Let's close this, share. Okay. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Yes. Let me open up the chat real quick. Can everyone see my screen? Open the chat. Yes. Okay, cool. So everyone can see my screen. Great. So I'm going to open this up and we're going to go over everything right here. So I'm going to minimize this a little bit. All right. So everyone can see. So when it comes to marketing your store, we're going to go ahead and use organic content on TikTok and Instagram. And this is going to be a complete guide to growing your e-commerce business without spending any money on paid ads. So first thing is I want to go over is you want to stop gambling your budget. You don't want to just run ads without testing any of the concepts or any of these ad creators in the first place. When you are starting as a beginner in dropshipping, you don't really understand what a winning ad looks like. So I've seen so many people create an ad and immediately just start putting money to this ad and just wasting all of their money when again, they don't know how to create ads that actually work. So that's why we want to go ahead and use organic content. So again, most campaigns lose money before finding a winning formula. High failure rates creates massive financial risk for new launches, and 90% of ad spend goes to testing bad creatives. So what we want to do is validate these concepts for completely free before ever spending $1. So the way that we can do that is by testing organically. So we post content for free to gauge the audience's interest. So what we can do is we create the ad, but instead of just running the ad, we post it on TikTok, we post it on Instagram, we post it on YouTube Shorts, we post it on Facebook, and we see how this piece of content does, how it performs. And once we posted it, we want to validate this concept. So is it getting high views? Is it getting a good amount of likes? Is it getting comments? Is it getting good engagement? And we want to see how this piece of content is performing. And once we have seen a piece of content perform well, and we've seen this piece of content and like get in good engagement with a large amount of people, that's when we know we can actually put money behind this ad and we know we have a winner. Because if we are just taking these videos and we are just immediately running them as ads, we don't know if this is an ad that's actually going to work. So the way that, again, we can test these ads for completely free is by posting them on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube Shorts, on Facebook, and seeing how it performs. If we post a video and it gets 300 views, then we know immediately, okay, I'm not going to run this as an ad. But say we post a video and it gets 1 million views, then yeah, this is a winner. This is something that people engage with. This is something that people will react to. I'm going to run this as an ad, right? And that's, we're able to test organically, validate the concept, and then we scale this video with ads. So when it comes to our video, I want to go over why certain videos actually do perform well. Why do certain videos get 1 million views and why do some videos get only 300 views? And it really just comes down to watch time. When you post a video, the only thing that matters that the algorithm is really looking for is the watch time that video has. So the amount of people, or from start to finish, that people watch the video for, right? It doesn't matter about the likes. It doesn't matter about comments. It's just about keeping people on the platform, right? So if your video has a terrible watch time, right? Someone could be scrolling on the video, they watch the intro to your video and it's not entertaining, right? They'll immediately swipe off. But if it is, then it keeps people on the platform. And essentially, if we are keeping people on TikTok, we keep people on Instagram. Instagram and TikTok make more money because these people are being shown ads now. So what we want to do is try and keep people on the platform. And the way we can do that is by creating good content. And the way we can create good content is just, again, having good watch time. So the next thing is the testing phase. So when you are testing, you want to be posting quantity. You want to be posting 3 times a day. I wrote for 2 weeks, but you honestly just want to be posting 3 times a day for as long as you possibly can, right? Because if you are posting 1 time a day or just once every other day, and you're just not posting consistently and you're not posting a lot, then you're never going to test a certain amount of creatives that you need to, right? Because say I posted 1 time a day for 2 weeks. I posted 14 videos over 2 weeks, whereas instead I posted 3 times a day for 2 weeks. That's what I can't do the math, but it is 3 times the amount more videos that you would have posted in the first place, right? So you are testing so many more creatives and you're able to find out what actually works so much quicker in comparison to posting 1 time a day. And too many people want to post once every other day and then they think, oh, dropshipping doesn't work because none of my videos went viral. You just simply didn't post enough content. You need to be posting more and be testing more, right? And say you do have videos that perform well, what you want to do, so say you post a video and it gets 1 million views, what you want to do is then take that video and start testing different versions of it. Try and create multiple versions of that video. So again, if a video gets 1 million views, change the lighting, change the angle, change the hook. Well, don't change the hook that much. You want to change the hook very slightly. Change where you're filming it. You want to change a bunch of little things to see how that performs. Because say you filmed a video, it did 1 million views and you shot the video inside of your house. Okay, cool. Let me see what it looks like when I film outside. Maybe it gets 2 million views, right? All right, cool. So it's better to film outside than inside. Let me test out different lighting. Let me test out different captions. Let me just test out a bunch of different little things to see how it does. And that is, again, you're posting consistently. You're posting 3 times a day, right? And you're also reiterating and you're testing different versions of these pieces of content to find out if they're good or not, right? And once you're doing all of that, at the same time, you're doing all these things, you're posting consistently and you're testing different versions of it. You're constantly analyzing the content itself. You're constantly looking to see how this piece of content is performing, right? So say you post a video that does 500,000 views. All right, cool. Let me go ahead and try and change the lighting, change the captions, maybe change the wording just slightly. Okay, it did 1 million views this time. So you double the amount of views that you get. Okay, now how can I create more versions like this? Let me do the same things. Let me do the things that went well for me, right? Let me film the same lighting, but maybe let me change this angle. Let me change this caption, whatever it is. Change the little things and test that again to see how that performs, right? So again, you want to be posting a ton. You want to be posting tons of variety, and you want to be analyzing constantly. Because if you're just posting a ton and you're posting different versions of it, but you're never analyzing, then you're never going to actually look to see what is doing well. You're just posting just to post. And the same thing goes if you're just posting every single day. You could be posting 5 times a day, but if you're not creating multiple versions of it, if you're not analyzing, then you're just posting the post and you're not improving on your content. You're not trying to change anything. You're not trying to do anything better. So I see too many people that are posting the exact same piece of content and they're not improving on it. And they're wondering why it only has 200 views. The reason you only have 200 views still is because you're posting the exact type of content. You're not improving on it. You're not changing anything about it, and you're not analyzing. So you need to constantly be posting, changing, and creating different versions of the posts that you're doing, and then analyzing them. So really quickly, so I know a ton of you guys are going to be shooting on your phones. So when you're filming your content, just some quick iPhone settings. If you're not using a camera, you want to make sure that you're at 4K and also shooting at 60 FPS. So if you go to the camera settings at the top, you should be able to click on the actual settings itself and change it in there. You also want to turn off HDR. This just avoids blown out unnatural colors. And then probably the biggest mistake that I see way too many people make, I even still make this mistake to myself to this day. And usually I'll look at the video afterwards and go, this looks really blurry. And then it comes out to be I didn't wipe my camera lens, right? So, and I use an actual camera. So you want to make sure that you're always wipe off your camera lens, because it genuinely is a massive difference when it comes to your content, right? And then also really quickly is going to be the lighting. You want to make sure that you have natural lighting. So if you have a window near you in the daytime, stand by the window. That is really good lighting. You want to be facing the window. You never want to have the window behind you, because if the window's behind you, you'll have all of this backlighting and your face is essentially just going to be all dark, or your product, whatever it is. So whatever you're filming, make sure that you're filming in front of the window and you don't have the window behind you, right? Now, the actual strategy to creating viral content and to have videos that do go viral is by stealing like an artist. So you don't invent, you don't want to create from brand new, you don't want to create from scratch. You want to copy what is already working, because if it worked for somebody else, most of the time it's going to work for you too, right? So you want to look at other people within your niche. So say, example, you're in the beauty niche, look at other stores within the beauty niche and recreate their most viral videos, right? And obviously add your own spin to it to make it work for your product, right? So again, the reason you want to be copying other people's content is because if someone got 1 million views with a certain format and a certain video, then the reason it did that well is because the algorithm saw that people engage and react to this video really well. It has a high amount of watch time. Now, if you go ahead and create your own video however you want, you don't know, it's not proven to work. So you don't know if this video is going to go viral. So you're spending all this time, all this energy on a video that you're just hoping and praying does well, right? It's better off to go and steal like an artist and copy someone else's videos and then obviously restructure it to make it slightly different than theirs and make it work for your product than to go ahead and just create it on your own. Because again, if you create it on your own, you're going to be spending all this time, all this energy just to go ahead and get 500 views. You might as well take that time and energy that you're going to spend regardless on a piece of content that you know is going to work, right? And now I know some people might be thinking, oh, like if I copy someone else's content, am I going to get in trouble? I promise you 99%, or maybe not 99, but 95% of the people on the internet are always just copying other people's content and reiterating on it. Because again, this is something that people engage with and something that people actually watch. So you need to be recreating this because again, it's already working. You don't want to just be spending all your time and energy hoping and praying that something works for you, right? It's better off to just copy what works. Now, the next thing, like I just talked about, is you don't want to reinvent the wheel. You don't want to be looking to try and come up with your own ideas because yes, they could work, but it's like you're playing darts and you're just throwing these darts at the wall in the dark, right? Or you have a blindfold on. You don't know what's going to hit. You're just throwing just to throw and hoping that something does. Whereas instead, you can look to see what's already working and recreate that because again, it already has worked for somebody else, right? Now, next thing is going back to stealing like an artist is with an original concept, you have a proven topic, you have the validated hook where when you recreate it, what you want to do is look to see what went well in that video and what you can improve on. So if the person's lighting is not good, then you want to go ahead and improve the lighting, make the lighting a little bit better. If they have slow pacing, you want to then have faster pacing in your video. If they don't have a call to action, you want to go ahead and add a call to action on your video. So you want to be looking at what the original video looked like and what the original video said and what it's all about and improve on that, right? You don't want to just create it word for word and exactly the same because yes, it can get you the same amount of views, but how can we take this video that got 1 million views and recreate it in a better way to go ahead and maybe even get 2 million views, right? So we constantly need to be looking to improve on what's already working. And the same thing goes with our content because now say we recreated this video and it did 1 million views. All right, cool. Let me take my original video and recreate it, but add my own spin to it and try and make it a little bit better, right? So again, if a video, say you find a video that did 500,000 views from another store and you recreate it and you make it slightly better and it does 1 million views. Okay, cool. This worked for me now. I'm going to recreate my own video and improve on these other little things and see how that performs. Right. So again, you constantly want to be improving and making things better than the original video. Right. So whether that be your own video or whether that be someone else's video, whatever it is, you constantly want to be improving. Now, the next thing is when it comes to our product criteria, there are two main things when it comes to our product and making sure that it performs well with organic content. And that is going to be one, having a wow factor. You need to make sure that your product is essentially it can stop the scroll and it can get people from stopping from scrolling, right? If our product is just boring, right? It's like a microwave or something. Like people aren't going to stop to see a microwave, but imagine this microwave has like all these like crazy LEDs and it has like a touchscreen, all this stuff. That could be something that stops people from scrolling. Now, obviously, I'm not saying go and sell like a microwave, but there's a ton of ways to find products that have some sort of wow factor. You just need to be actually looking for products, again, that can stop people from scrolling. And how you can do that is looking to see if people are engaging with the video. If you find a product on TikTok and it has 1 million views, then you know, okay, this is something that people are stopping from scrolling and they're actually watching and they're kind of interested in. And then the second thing, which is probably, in my opinion, is probably the more important part when it comes to having a wow factor. And that is making sure that the product is a problem solver. You want to make sure that your product solves some sort of a problem because this makes it so much easier to make content about. Because again, people don't care about the color of the product. They don't care about the material it's made out of. They don't care about they honestly don't really care about the functionality of it. They care more about the pain or problem that it solves, right? So again, I talked about it earlier in the video or in this live, but if you are selling, let's say a weight loss product or something fitness related, right? Say someone is overweight and they want to lose weight. And you have a product that can help them lose weight in 1 week. They don't care about the actual product itself. They care about losing the weight. And you need to be creating content about the results. Right. So again, if you're selling a product that doesn't solve a problem, it's very hard to sell and very hard to make content about because you have to sell what the product looks like and all these little things. Whereas instead, if your product does solve a problem, you can create content on the fact or on the actual results that your product gets. Right. So say your product can help someone lose 50 pounds in a week, which obviously isn't realistic, but like, then you would talk about that part. You talk about the results because that's the reason that people buy. People don't buy because, again, of the material and the color and all these things. People buy based on them fixing that pain that they have or that problem that they have, right? It can go the same thing for weight loss. It can go the same thing for beauty. In the beauty niche, it's the niche that I'm more so into. I've been in the beauty niche for a really long time selling products within the beauty niche. It's a lot easier to sell because you are solving the people's problem of maybe they're insecure about the way their hair looks or their makeup or whatever it is. You are solving that problem with your product, right? And that's where it's a lot easier to sell and it's a lot easier to make content about if your product does solve the problem. So that's just like another thing when it comes to creating organic content is making sure you have a product that also works for it as well, right? So the anatomy of a winning video. So with every video, there's three parts that make up a video. We have the hook, we have the body, and we have the CTA, right? So the hook is the part that stops the person from scrolling and that grabs the person's attention. And in my opinion, and honestly, this is the most important part when it comes to our video, because we can have the best video ever. Like the body and our call to action could literally be the best video ever. But if we don't grab the person's attention immediately in the beginning of the video, then nobody's going to want to watch. And nobody's going to ever get to the end of the video that we created so well, right? So you need to be spending, when you're creating videos, you need to be spending, I wrote down 80%, but honestly, you need to be spending almost 90% of your time on creating hooks, right? And hooks are usually, again, it's the first part to your video. This is the part that people, when they are scrolling, this is the part that they immediately watch. And if you are not able to grab the person's attention, they're never going to go through the rest of your video. And that is where we see those bad watch times. With a normal retention chart, usually you see video starts and then immediately goes down. That's how you know it is a bad video. But instead, if the retention chart is just goes down, but it goes down very slightly, that's how you know that this video has a high retention rate and this is something that people actually watch. So you want to be focusing, I can't say this enough, but you need to be focusing on the hook 90% of the time, because again, this is the most important part when it comes to our video. And then the second most important part, in my opinion, is going to be the call to action. This is telling people what to do at the end of the video after they've watched. So say you have now grabbed everyone's attention, right? Your hook was good and it grabbed the attention of a ton of people. Now they're watching the body of the video. And usually in the body of the video, this is where you're telling them about the product. This is usually showing off the results and maybe telling them how fast it can deliver these results and all of these things. This is, again, more so just talking about the product. Maybe it's some sort of review, whatever it is, how the product works, and then the actual results, right? And then what you need to do, and I see too many people do this, is not having a CTA. You need to be telling people what to do after they've watched the video, because say someone watched the hook, they watched the body of the video, they watched like what the product does and everything, and then you don't tell them what to do, they're just going to continue to scroll. But if you tell them, hey, we have a 50% off sale, go ahead and click the link in our bio, or go ahead and click the button on this video to get your product now, you are now telling people what to do if they're interested. Because if they watch the hook, they watch the body, most of the people to this point are interested in the product. You just need to tell them what to do if they want to get the product. And this is usually where you talk about your offer, right? Maybe it's some sort of 50% off. Maybe it's a buy one, get one half off. Maybe it's a buy two, get one free, whatever your offer is. This is where you tell it to them and you grab the interest that they already have. And you say, hey, if you want this product, go ahead, click the button or go click the link in our bio, whatever it is, and go and get the product now. You need to be directing all of this traffic, because say your video gets 1 million views and you're not directing the traffic, they're just going to continue to scroll and you're going to lose out on a ton of money. So what you need to do is take all of this traffic that you're getting and push them to your store. You need to direct them there. They're not just going to automatically think, oh, they watch my product, they're going to know to go to my bio and click it, or they're going to know to click the button on the video. You'd actually be surprised. The amount of people that don't actually click the button or don't go to your bio is going to be insane. You need to be telling people what to do after they've watched the video. So next slide is the hook menu. So we have a few kind of different hooks when it comes to creating hooks. Biggest thing also when it comes to finding good hooks and creating good hooks is by, again, looking to see what hooks are working for other people and recreating those. But with our hooks, we usually have the negative hook. This is something like stop cleaning your shoes like this. The next hook is going to be the result hook. And this could be something like how I made $10,000 in 3 days with $0, right? This is talking about a result. Sometimes it's going to be a crazy result, whatever it is. Now, say you're selling a beauty product. Maybe you're selling a product that helps people with acne. Here's how I lost all my acne in 2 days, right? For $50 or whatever it is, right? That would be a result hook. Or the story hook. I tried drop shipping, so you don't have to, and then talk about it, right? So maybe again, say with a beauty product, say it's a product that helps people with acne. I tried this acne product for 3 weeks. Here's what happened, right? And then you talk about this, you give the entire story. And then the visual hook. This will usually be some sort of text on screen and some sort of satisfying clip or just whatever it is. Just it usually is going to be some sort of text on screen with a video of your product. And now the hook kind of workshop. So a few good hooks versus bad hooks is too many people go, this is my new spray, right? Not really engaging. People don't really care about it. When we can instead say, stop cleaning your counters like this, right? And then we can go ahead and show how to do it. And then we show this cleaning spray, right? Or for jewelry, buy this necklace, right? People don't care about that. People don't want to watch that. My boyfriend said he hated this. And then you can go ahead and talk about the necklace and then talk about maybe why he hated it and then kind of lead it into a CTA. Or check out these features, right? Nobody is going to watch that. It's just boring, right? If you scrolled on a video, think to yourself, if you scrolled on a video and someone immediately goes, check out these features, that's boring. You don't care about it. You're just going to keep scrolling, right? So instead you say something like, I found a cheat code for your kitchen, right? This is something that people would be interested in. Oh, what's this cheat code? You're immediately grabbing the person's attention and you're telling them what it's for, right? Now, the next thing is the body. So you need to keep people watching. You need to be talking about your product. Now, there's a few things that when it comes to our body, now again, 90% of your time should be spent on the hook, but that doesn't mean the body doesn't matter. You still need to spend a decent amount of time on this and kind of really think this out. But you don't want to be boring, right? So imagine you have this crazy hook and then the rest of the video is super slow pace. It's super boring. You have a bunch of dead space between each sentence you say. Then obviously people are going to leave because now, like, what you had this really amazing hook, but then the rest of your video just got boring all of a sudden. So you need to make sure the video is still engaging. Now, again, you already grabbed the person's attention. It's not that difficult to not be boring in the rest of the video. And then the next thing is going to be cut the dead air. So when you're filming, usually the way I film it, and I have most of my students film it, and I have everyone I tell to film it, they'll say a sentence and then they'll pause. They'll read the next line that maybe they have written down somewhere, and they'll look at the camera and they'll say the next line. You need to make sure that you're cutting the dead space in between. So any part where you are not speaking or there's no speaking being done, you need to cut that out because if you leave it in there, it makes the entire pacing of the video so much slower because it just feels longer. So if you're cutting that dead space out, it actually makes the video feel 10 times faster and it's a lot more engaging. And then also showing the results immediately. You need to be showing people what the results that the product is giving, right? So, and then also if a sentence doesn't add value to your video, then cut it out, right? Because people don't want to watch just random fluffed up content. People want to watch actual value based content, right? So if you're talking about your product and then you have all these sentences and all these statements that don't really add any value to the video, then people are going to get bored and they're going to scroll off. They're going to click off. They don't care to watch, right? You need to keep them engaged. And then the next thing is don't confuse the consumer. So too many people have multiple different call to actions, and you need to have one call to action on every single video. You can't have multiple different call to actions on the same video sometimes as well. Sometimes I see people in the middle of the video have a call to action and say, oh, click the link in our bio. And then at the end of the video, they say, click the button on this video. You need to have one call to action and stick to that one call to action, right? Next thing is the audio strategy. So there's a few audio kind of ways to create videos. So first one is going to be trending sounds. You can definitely use trending sounds to create your videos. Usually you can kind of not like piggyback, but you can kind of piggyback off trending sounds that are going viral right now, because again, these are sounds that are doing really well. You can use these sounds to help your videos do well, right? And then the next thing is going to be voiceovers. So voiceovers really do well when it comes to building trust and also with our storytelling. So say that there's something going on, right? Whatever you're filming, you can voice over that kind of parts of the video, right? So I really like voiceover type videos. And then also ASMR and original type videos. This usually works for a lot of just product demos and also sometimes like these beauty products, right? Sometimes you see these nighttime routine, skincare routine for beauty products. I've seen this a ton over and over and over again, and these do really, really well. You just need to do it the right way. And the way that you can do that is look to see how other people are doing it and recreate it in that style, right? So these are kind of like some audio strategies that you can go ahead and use. And then the next thing is also going to be TikTok SEO and also Instagram SEO, which I feel like this isn't talked about that much when it comes to things like this. But on TikTok and on Instagram, there's always going to be people searching for certain things. And I find myself doing this as well a lot of times is if I have a question or if I have something that I'm wondering about, I'll go onto TikTok and I'll search it up. And you'd actually be surprised the amount of people that actually, instead of Googling something, they'll go on TikTok and search it up because they want to find a quick video on this problem that they have or whatever it is, right? So maybe someone goes and searches best way to lose weight, and say you're selling a weight loss product, you would then have your video show up on TikTok SEO. And the way that you can do that is you can have your caption set up, your text on screen is set up for this SEO, and you also have hashtags, which hashtags don't really help that much. It's mainly the messaging in your video, right? So making sure that in the video, when you're talking about your product, you're talking about the best ways to lose weight, right? And usually when you create videos about these things, they will pop up on TikTok SEO. So again, you want to make sure that you can also create content that is based around TikTok SEO, because there are always going to be people searching for it. Like again, myself, sometimes if I have a question about something, I'll go over to TikTok and I'll ask the question on TikTok, right? Let's go down a little bit more. So next thing is why start on TikTok in comparison to other platforms. For myself personally, I found that TikTok is the easiest, not the easiest, but the most beginner friendly platform when it comes to actually getting views in comparison to something like Instagram. Just because with Instagram, you can have a ton of followers and get a ton of views. Whereas if you don't have any followers, it's a lot more difficult to get views because you don't have any followers to be shown. Whereas TikTok, the followers don't really matter at all on TikTok. It's if you could have 0 followers and post a video and get 10 million views, it really doesn't matter. It genuinely just comes down to your video being good and your video having a high retention rate. So next thing is going to be the platform strategy. So we have TikTok, and this is going to be the best for viral reach and creating a new audience. And this kind of just has a more raw, authentic kind of feel to it. You'll see a lot of those just talking head type videos where people are just picking up their phones and they'll be talking to the camera. So you can create a bunch of these types of more raw, authentic videos. Whereas on Instagram, a lot of the stuff is more kind of polished up, aesthetic, higher edited, higher quality, things like that. And you have to kind of spend more time into it. That's why I kind of like TikTok a little bit more, again, for beginners. But it's also really good for building trust, retargeting, and also getting sales, because TikTok has, or Instagram has, kind of an older demographic on there. So a lot of the people on there, because again, they're older, they'll have more money to spend. So whereas on TikTok, it can be a lot of younger audience as well. But again, as a beginner, it's a lot easier to get the views. So if you can get these views and then direct them to your store, you can still make sales, even though maybe your conversion rate drops just a little bit, just because, again, the audience on TikTok is maybe a little bit younger. Now, the next thing I want to go over is the 14-day sprint. And what you want to be doing is from days 1 to 7, you want to be posting 3 times every single day. You want to be focusing on quantity and variety, right? So you just want to be throwing everything at the wall. You want to be testing literally everything that you possibly can to see what works. And then from days 8 to 14, this is the analysis phase where you will be posting 2 times a day, but you are reiterating on the videos that are doing the best for you, right? So again, in the first 1 to 7 days, you're posting content, you're seeing what does well. And after those 7 days, you'll go and look at all of that content and see what performed best for you. And you'll recreate the versions that did really well for you. So say within the first 7 days, you got a video, did 1 million views. Okay, cool. This video did really well. How can I improve on this? What can I do to change this to make it even better to get even more views? Right. And that's what we'll be doing in day 8 to 14. And this is what you need to be doing. You need to constantly be testing, and you need to be analyzing, and then you need to be reiterating and testing that again. It's just one big cycle of testing, analyzing, reiterating over and over and over again, right? If you're just testing, and you're never analyzing, then you're going to be stuck in the same place because you're not trying to improve, right? And if you're testing and you're analyzing, but you're not changing anything, then that's essentially that's kind of just dumb. Like you're not changing anything. There's a word for it. There's like a saying for it, but you're just not doing anything about it, right? So again, you need to be testing, analyzing, and reiterating on the results that you see. Now, what I was talking about the earlier is editing techniques, and you need to be cutting the dead space in the videos. So usually when you're editing a video, you can see there's these little gaps right here between your sentences. So there's a little gap here, a little gap here, small gap here, small gap here. What you want to be doing is cutting the gap from here to here and making it all one. So this makes it seem that your video is so much faster. So in between each breath that you say, so you need to be cutting that little dead space out, because if you leave that in, again, it makes the video seem so much slower and the pacing seems slower, and then it just makes it a lot more boring. So this is just a little kind of trick that you can do in order to increase the retention rate and increase the amount of the watch time on your video, right? And now really quickly, when I'm talking about all of these little tricks, you can't just go ahead and implement one of these tricks. You need to make sure that you're implementing every single one of these little things in order for it to work, right? Because you need to stack all of these little improvements and these little tricks in order to really see a big difference. If you're only changing and you're only adding one of these little kind of tips and tricks that I'm talking about right now, you're not going to see the result. You need to make sure that you're implementing everything in order to actually see sizable and big results, right? So next thing is going to be pulse of retention. It's just something must change on the screen every 3 seconds. So this is kind of a rule of thumb that I'll usually always follow, is every 3 seconds, something needs to be changing on the screen. So maybe a picture popping up, maybe the camera angle changes, maybe whatever it is, you need to have, maybe the setting that you're in changes, right? Go to a different spot, right? You need to be changing something every 3 seconds. That's what I've been doing, and that's what I've seen work. Because if you kind of keep everything stagnant and the exact same, then the video is not really as entertaining. Now you need, again, if you're doing this, we're doing this in order to get as many views as possible. So if we're creating these very boring videos that are just filmed in the exact same spot, then it's not as engaging, it's not as entertaining, so people are going to scroll off. So every 3 seconds, have something pop up on the screen. Just do something that is slightly different on screen, right? And then next thing is going to be caption strategies. So SEO, like we talked about earlier, is just making sure that our captions are related to what we want people to search for. So say our product, again, is for losing weight. We want our caption to be something about losing weight. So maybe it's like, best way to lose weight in 2026, right? And now that little kind of caption strategy is going to help people when they search for best ways to lose weight, our video will pop up, right? So just kind of like a little trick when it comes to getting people to actually search for our videos and getting it to search up on TikTok, right? Because again, there are a ton of people that go to TikTok to answer the questions that they have and answer these things that they're wondering about, right? And we can have our videos rank on SEO, and they can click on our video, they can watch it, and then they can go ahead and buy our product, right? And then the next thing is going to be scaling, right? So what we want to do, what I talked about earlier in the video or in the live, is we want to create organic content first and see how this performs. And we need to be constantly analyzing and reiterating and improving on the videos. And what we need to do is once we have a few videos that perform well, we want to take these videos and then run these as ads. So say you've gone through the 2 weeks and you have a few videos that have gone viral for you and have millions of views. You then know, okay, this is a video that people engage with. This is a video that has made me sales. This is something that people are actually watching. I'm going to take this video and I'm going to run it as an ad. So instead of just taking a random video and running as an ad and hoping that it's going to work, you test it on organic. And then once you see that it does well in organic, then you can run it as an ad. So that way you don't have to spend any money hoping that something just works. You can just test it for completely free, find out that it does work, and then run it as an ad. Or it can be the other way around. Say you post a video and it gets 200 views, then obviously you're not going to run it as an ad. You found out, okay, good thing I didn't run it as an ad, because if I did, I was just going to lose money in the first place, right? So you need to be testing with organic, especially as a beginner, because when you're a beginner, you don't know how to create these high quality level ads and how to create high converting ads. You're just starting out, and that's completely fine. And the way that you can really learn is through organic content. It doesn't cost you a single dollar to post any content on TikTok, Instagram. You do it for completely free, and you can find out what actually works. And then once you do find out what works, that's when you go ahead and run these as ads. So now the kind of curiosity loop when it comes to our content is, first thing is we have our open loop. So you create a knowledge gap, right? Something like, you won't believe what happened, right? And then it comes the delay, right? So this is where you'll hold the answer, you'll build tension with the story or process, right? So you say, you won't believe what happened. And then you go ahead and talk about what happened. And you kind of build up this kind of tension before you really go off and tell the person what the product is and things like that, and really what it is. And this is where we go ahead and reveal the payoff, and you give them kind of that little dopamine hit, right? And this is usually how your video is going to be played out, right? Next thing is also going to be product selection and kind of what sells, right? Not all products are viral ready. There's a ton of products that aren't problem solvers and they don't have wow factors, or there's also some products that do solve a problem, but they don't really have a wow factor. So these are products that are a lot more difficult to sell with organic content because they don't grab people's attention, right? It can solve, like, your product can solve the biggest problem ever, but the thing is, if it's not something that people are going to stop from scrolling and it's a very just boring looking product and people don't really care about it, then nobody's going to watch it in the first place, right? You need to make sure that your product can actually grab people's attention, because if it can't grab the person's attention, then it's going to be so hard to sell because you can't get the product in front of people's faces, right? Now, next thing is also going to be testing and scaling. So kind of what we talked about earlier. So what we talked about earlier is going to be tests with organic. So this is when I'm also talking about testing, I'm talking about testing products and I'm talking about testing creatives. So you can test products with organic content, and say you test a product for, say, a month and you're consistently posting. I'm not talking about testing a product for a month and you're posting every other day or just every couple of days just randomly and then doesn't work. Obviously it didn't work. You barely posted. But if you actually wanted to test a product, you posted 3 times every single day, and you were analyzing the content and you were reiterating it and you were improving the content and you were posting again and you still weren't getting views, and maybe you were getting views but you're not getting sales, that's when you go ahead and move to a different product. But now, say you found another product and you're posting videos and you see that you're getting views and you see that you're making sales, that's when you kind of identify your winner. You identify your winning creatives and you also identify the winning product, right? So if you're posting content organically and it's making sales, it's getting views, now you know, okay, my product is a winner and I have a few viral or videos that are getting views. I can then go ahead and run this as a paid ad, right? And then from there, that's when you go ahead and start testing it with paid ads, see how that performs, and then reinvesting all of the money back into ads. And that is when you start to scale aggressively. And that's when you just not all of the money that you're making, but a good amount of the money that you're making from your ads, you want to be putting it back into your store. The other thing is I see too many people just making money off their ads and then pocket the money and they don't even scale or put it back into their store. You need to make sure that you're constantly reinvesting into your store and reinvesting into the business, because if you don't, it's going to be a lot more difficult to scale. So you shouldn't just be taking all the profits. Now, what are a few kind of key metrics to track when it comes to your content? First one, like I talked about, is the most important part is going to be the retention rate. And your retention rate is really just dependent on the hook of your video. If you have a good hook, then most of the time you will have a high retention rate because you're grabbing people's attention immediately and they're actually engaged and they actually want to watch. But if your video has a bad hook, then nobody's going to watch and the retention rate is just going to drop immediately after the hook. So we need to be making sure that we're focusing on creating good hooks. So if you look at your videos and you see they have low views, and you can also go into the settings of the video and you can go into the analytics and see the actual retention chart. What you can then do is look to see which videos have a bad retention rate and then look at that hook and then see how you can improve on it, right? And if you see a video has a ton of views, go and look at that retention chart and see what that looks like. And if it does have a good retention chart and has a good amount of views, then you know, okay, this is a video that worked. I'm going to go ahead and recreate multiple versions of this. And then the next thing is also going to be engagement rate. So this is going to be likes, comments, views. Biggest thing is you also want to be looking at the comments and seeing what people are saying about your product. If people are saying, where can I get this? How much is it? Or just asking things about your product, saying that they want the product. Maybe they're like, oh my God, I need this. Then you know this is a winning product and this is something that people actually want to buy and they also care about to watch, right? And then also shares. Is this something that people are sharing to other people? I think this is kind of one of the metrics that is way overlooked. I think people more so care about comments and likes a little bit more than shares, because if someone is sharing a video to someone else, that is probably one of the like biggest kind of factors and kind of like proof to show that this is a product that people actually care about, because they went out of their way to say, wow, this product is really good. I'm going to go ahead and send it to one of my best friends or one of my family members and show them this product because it's just that good, right? So you need to be looking at a few of these kind of metrics, and these are the metrics that I'm always looking at. And also the other thing is you don't always want to be looking at views, because sometimes views don't equal to sales, right? Because a lot of the times I've seen people posting content that is geared towards children, and kids don't have money to spend on your products. So maybe they got 10 million, like a million views, but the audience that they're promoting their content to isn't worth it. So you also need to be actually looking at the videos and seeing who the content is targeted to, right? Making sure that the audience that the content is targeted to actually has money to buy the product. Then the next thing is going to be reading the curve. So again, this is kind of when I'm talking about metrics, this is usually what a good retention rate looks like. This is what every single video's retention rate looks like, a chart like this. We have the start of the video right here, and we have the end of the video right here. And usually right at the beginning, this is the hook, and this is usually where that drop off is. If a video has a bad hook, you'll usually see a massive spike all the way to the bottom, and then it usually plateaus. Whereas if we have a good hook, it doesn't spike all the way to the bottom. It's just a slight decrease like this, and then it flattens out. And then we have the body dip, and then we have the finish. And then the finish of the video is usually our CTA. So if we have a good hook, and we're keeping people all the way to our body and we're getting people all the way to our CTA, this is, again, we need to be telling people what to do when they get to the end of the video. This is one of the most overlooked things, in my opinion, when it comes to the structure of your video. I see too many people making videos without a CTA, and then all of this traffic that they're getting, they're just wasting and they're not doing anything with it. So you need to be telling people what to do if they want to buy the product. And then a few common mistakes is kind of why your videos fail is I see too many people trying to sell too early in the video. They're talking about, oh, we have like as soon as they say their hook, we're running a 50% off sale. Go and get yours now. Like nobody wants to be sold. Nobody likes to be sold. So you need to kind of hook them into your video, talk about your video a little, talk about your product a little bit more, and then tell them about it at the end of your video once they've made it all the way to the end, because at this point they're actually interested. But if your video goes, we're having a 50% off sale for this and that product, then nobody's going to watch. The same thing goes if you're telling people in the middle, like in the bot, or as soon as your hook is over, right? You need to make sure that you're not selling too early. The other thing is bad audio and bad lighting. If your audio just sounds terrible, then nobody's going to watch because it just doesn't sound good. And the same thing with lighting. If it's too dark, then nobody can see you, nobody can see the product, then obviously they're not going to watch. And then honestly, in my opinion, this is the most important part to why people fail. And or not most important, but the biggest reason to why people fail is inconsistency. I see too many people that say, I want to start dropshipping, and then they watch all the content, they do all the things, and then they get to actually posting the content, and they post every couple days, very randomly. You need to make sure that you're posting consistently every single day, multiple times a day, because you need to be testing, and you also need to be building the habit. Because if you just post every now and then when you just feel like it, then of course it's never going to work. You're not testing, you're not learning. Because if you're posting 3 times a day, you are learning how to create content, you're learning what works, and you're getting better at marketing. You're getting better at creating content. You're getting better at drop shipping, right? The same thing works with literally everything else when it comes to riding a bike, right? If you hop on a bike every now and then obviously you're not going to get good at it. Or same thing with sports. If you're playing basketball, if you go out and play basketball every now and then, you're not going to get good at it. Same thing with business, same thing with content. If you're posting every now and then when you just feel like it, obviously you're not going to get good at it, right? You need to be showing up every single day. You need to be putting in the reps. You need to be constantly improving. You need to be constantly testing and constantly getting better, right? If you don't do that, it's never going to work. And then the next thing is going to be content batching. So you want to be working smarter, not harder. Obviously, that's like whatever it is, big saying, but it's true, right? You need to be working a lot smarter. So you want to plan out your days and plan out your kind of work days, right? So maybe on Monday, you're doing product research or video research, and you're looking for viral videos, and you're building out this content bank of videos that you can recreate. And then say on Tuesday, you're going to be scripting all your videos. On Wednesday, you're going to film all of your videos. On Thursday, you edit all of your videos. And then on Friday, you go ahead and schedule all your videos out. So what you can do is throughout this entire week is set up all the videos so that by Friday, you have, let's say, 30 videos to post. And then you have a video to post every single day, and you don't have to constantly be creating a video every single day, coming up with an idea and then scripting it and then filming it and editing it and then posting it. And then you have to do the exact same thing the next day. It becomes a lot more difficult. Whereas instead, if you plan it all out and you batch create all of your content at once, right? So say you film all of your content on Wednesday and then you edit it all up. Now you have 30 pieces of content. So say you get sick one week, doesn't matter if you get sick, you still have all this content that you can still post, and your business can still keep running even though you're sick and you're away and you can't get to work, or maybe you're on vacation, whatever it is. You want to be creating your content. You want to have a system, essentially. And then the kind of final thing that I want to go is the 30-day action plan. So your first week is you want to be researching, planning, and you want to be finding 20 viral concepts. You want to write 10 scripts and gather a ton of props. The second thing on the second week is going to be actually creating the content. So film a first batch, edit, and then put some captions on there, schedule your posts. And then week 3 is going to be your launch. So this is where you'll post one video every single day. And then you want to make sure you're replying to comments and then also monitoring your watch time. You want to be analyzing all of your content and seeing how it performs. And then week 4 is going to be optimizing and scaling. So identifying your winning videos and then scaling these, and then creating multiple variations of your winners, and then also then launching these videos as ads. So that is pretty much everything. Just start. Honestly, that is the biggest kind of piece of information or just advice that I can give you, is just get started. Don't sit around and wait and think, oh, I'm going to put it off till later. Just get started, because once you get started, that is when you'll actually start to see changes. So let's get back over to Loom. We'll do a little Q&A right here. Let me stop sharing my screen. So I saw a ton of questions come in during the live. So if you guys want to start asking the questions down in the chat, I'll start answering some questions now. So I'll probably answer questions for another maybe like 5-10 minutes. I know it's getting a little bit late for even some of you guys as well. So, but yeah, that is going to be everything. I'm going to go ahead and scroll up a little bit and see what questions you guys might have left as well. So let's go up here. I would have gave content work to my girl, but she has a phone with bad camera. So what you could even do is maybe have them use your phone, right? If she has a bad camera. So let's see what other questions. I hope that's not a dumb question, but do you have to show the actual product or just talk about it? I recommend you have the product because if you're just talking about it, with content, people are very visual, like visual learners, and you need to be showing the product and what it does and things like that. If you're just talking about it, then it just it's a lot harder to create content about it and get people to be interested in, right? So, is it best to use small mics versus the mic on the phone? I would say if you can get a small mic, like the small ones that you can clip onto yourself or plug into your phone, whatever it is, I would say use those because an actual dedicated mic is definitely a lot better. But if you can't, then phone will work perfectly fine. Just make sure that you're in kind of like a quiet space. There's also a few AI tools that you can use to enhance the audio on your videos. So I think you could use like Adobe Podcast, or if you're editing in CapCut, which I recommend to use, um, they have tools like these AI tools that will kind of create or make the audio sound a lot better. So, are AI videos a bad idea? Say a lot blow up. You definitely can use AI to create a certain amount of videos. The only thing is, I would say a ton of people are starting to realize or notice the videos that are AI. So, say they're watching a video and it's AI. Most of the time, people know that the video is AI. So, actually selling with an AI video is going to be pretty difficult, especially if you're selling a product that solves a problem because you need to be showing real world results. So if someone can sniff out that your video is AI, then they're going to know that your they're going to assume that your product probably doesn't actually solve that problem, right? So again, say you're selling a product that maybe helps people with acne, and you have an AI video, people are going to think, oh, the product can't actually work because the video is made with AI, right? So, um, let's see. I thought it might be weird, but when I didn't have a mic, when I was using two socks and put on phone mics as filter for voice recording, are you saying you put the sock over the phone to like have it like make it like a softer tone, I guess, if that makes sense? I've never heard someone do that. How long should videos be? Usually you want your video to be around like 60 to 90 seconds. You can also, or I would say 30 to 90, somewhere in that range. I usually like to be at like 60 seconds, so like a minute. That's my personal preference. I like to be at that minute mark, somewhere around that. It can be a little bit under, a little bit over. Anything over like 90 seconds starts to get a little bit long, especially for like TikTok and Instagram. So I would say try and keep it a little bit shorter. So yeah. I understand. I sell baby products though, and I don't have a kid. How should I go about it? What you could also do is if you go to platforms like Fiverr or Upwork, you can look for UGC creators that may have children that would want that they could use. I think if you're selling like a baby product, um, maybe ask a relative that you could know. You definitely don't want to be using AI though, because I feel like again, people can kind of sniff that out. And if it's a problem solving product, you need to show real world results, right? So, um, yeah, I would say probably just go to like Fiverr maybe and see if you can find someone there, or ask friends, family, things like that if they know anyone. And what you could honestly even do is it doesn't need to be like straight footage like of maybe the baby using it or whatever it is. It can maybe just be like little still shots. Maybe also go online on YouTube and or on TikTok and look for videos of the product in use, and you can download these videos using tools like Snaptic, and then just trim them down and clip it to use the parts that you want. That way you don't get in trouble. Is there a good time for posting? No. Not that there's no good time for posting, but like any time, it really doesn't matter. If your video is good, then it will go viral. That's all it is. If your video is engaging and people will actually want to watch it, then TikTok and these algorithms will show it to people because they're actually interested in it, right? Because if your video is a actual good video and it keeps people engaged, then it means that it keeps people on the platform. And there's no reason that TikTok, Instagram wouldn't show it to people. They want to keep people on the platform, and your video is a good video, and your video would keep people on the platform, if that makes sense. Let's see what other comments we got here. To not get that air sound in audio and for very clear voice. Okay, I got you. Use beautiful baby video. Can we use AI voiceover, or will that chase customers away? I think that's another thing that some people can sniff out. It really just depends on how good it is. If you also want, you can always just hire someone on Fiverr, Upwork to do the voiceovers. Now, again, that costs a little bit of money. Or if you have a friend, family, relative, whatever it is, that can maybe also do it, I would recommend do it like that. But yeah, I would say you can do an AI voiceover. It just depends how good it is. If you can if you yourself can tell that it's AI, maybe even ask your friends or your family. Maybe don't ask like parents. I don't know if you're like younger, but maybe don't ask like older people, because I feel like older people can't really tell sometimes. But most people that are kind of like younger will definitely be able to tell. So, but yeah, ask friends, family if they can tell if it's an AI voiceover, and if they can't, then you know it's good to go. And if you genuinely think that you can actually tell, then you'll know. People are totally new to Hook stuff for content, then they can use this GPT bot for help in content. I don't know how I've tried AI tools for content and they don't really work that well, just because it's honestly just better to look at what already worked and then recreate that. And then, yeah, in my opinion, that's what I've done. So, what of my niche is iPhone cases. What kind of content should I post to promote it? Look at what other people that are selling iPhone cases doing. And the other thing is, you also want to look at your product, right? Because yes, it solves the problem of keeping your phone safe, but does it have like a wow factor? What's so special about your iPhone case? There's millions of people that sell, or not millions of people, but there's so many people out there that sell iPhone cases. So what does yours kind of do different, right? So yeah, let's see what else we got here. All organic winning products would work on ads too. I would say yes, most of the time. You also do want to kind of dive deeper into it as well, because again, like I talked about earlier, if you're posting content and it's getting, let's say, 5 million views, right? Or a million views. And then you go into the comments and you see it's a bunch of just like kids responding to the video, then it might be a little bit more difficult, because the audience that is reacting to these videos is a younger demographic, and these kids don't have money to actually buy the product, right? So you want to be testing with organic, and then you want to look at some things like your conversion rate. You want to be looking at these metrics like this to find out if this is an audience that actually has money and actually would buy products, right? Because if you're creating content geared and it's like a child kind of product, and the content is geared towards children, then obviously children don't have money. Children don't have credit cards. They're not going to buy your product. So, yeah, you kind of just want to dive into it a little bit deeper. But like, say you're selling like a home product, then obviously, if it gets a million views and it's in like the home niche, these are home owners that are watching the product. So then, yes, that's probably an ad that would do well for paid. So, let's see. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate it. When's the next class? And can I follow you anywhere? Yeah. So you can follow on Zendrop or storebuild.ai. And then my Instagram is also Adam Palomeke. I can type it in the chat as well. So let's see. It doesn't let me type it in there. Or actually on the Zoom, you should see my name right there. So if you ever want to just look at my content as well. So I think the next class, let's see. Patty, do you know when the next live class is going to be? I'm not too sure if it's tomorrow. But they're on Friday. Okay. I think on Friday that is also going to be me as well, and that'll be going over paid ads. I'm pretty sure. So now that we talked about organic content, the next thing is going to be talking about paid ads. So okay, let's see what other. Appreciate it. I got you. Let's see. I use AI and it's been working, but only as presenter for my brand. I get lots of views and building traffic. The sales are slower though. I'm reviewing the checkout process now. So what could be happening again is if you're using AI and you're getting views and you're getting people to your store, you want to look at one if, or I just lost my train of thought. You want to be, it could sometimes just be that they know it's AI and they just want to go and check it out. So that could be the case sometimes. And it also just depends on your product. If your product doesn't really solve a problem, right? You need to also be making sure that it really comes down to a bunch of different things. If you're getting people to your store and it's not converting, I would probably have to like deep dive into the store and look at the actual website itself, look at the product and all these types of things. So there's just a lot of factors that could play into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer maybe two more questions. So if you guys want to leave some last, if you guys want to leave some questions in there, I'll probably answer like one, two, or maybe like three more. It is getting a little bit late for you guys as well, and for me, it's 9:22 right now. So again, I'll probably answer maybe like one, two, or three more, maybe, just depending on the question. So let's see. Thanks for the info. Great stuff. Of course, bro. Glad to help out. All right. I don't see any questions coming through. So I think that's going to be it for this live. So again, I'll be seeing you guys on Friday. That is going to be the next live. Again, if you guys haven't activated your stores, go ahead and activate your store. You'll get the $100 in ZenDrop credit. Or for the $100 credit, you have to use ZenDrop store or Shopify store. So if you go to the link to the store build AI tool, you'll get the store built all for you. So there we go. Patty just dropped the link right there. So if you guys click on that link, it will go ahead and bring you to your store, and you can if you haven't activated your store, you can click on there and then activate it. Or if you haven't even done it, you click on that link and it'll build your store all for you. Excuse me. But yeah, so you just click on that link and then it'll build out your store all for you. And if we have a store, vice versa. Yeah, so if you go into the store or if you click on that link, I'm pretty sure you should still be able to use it. I think you just need to get access or you just need to use it to get ZenDrop activated. So yeah. If I got 140 to 140 sign up credit, will this work? Will this still work? Not really too sure what you mean. Yeah, I'm not too sure. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up here though. So again, I'll see you guys on oh, you got a year pro. Okay, so then you should get the credits on. So okay, that's pretty much gonna be everything for this live though. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was information. I hope this helped you guys out as much as possible. I hope that I answered all of your questions as well. With all of that, I will see you guys on Friday. So yeah, I'll see you guys then. Have a good one.